Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today is exciting because today is my celebratory hop for reaching 2,000 subscribers. A bunch of my scrappy friends have got together to do a hop today to celebrate, so I'm so excited about this. We've had a couple other people reach their benchmarks, and we've done these celebratory hops, and it's been a whole lot of fun celebrating that way. And so today's really exciting because it's mine, and I love all of my scrappy friends who kind of put this together. It just means a lot. And I am scrapbooking one of my older pages today. So everyone's going to be scraplifting a layout of mine. And I decided to do an older layout that did not have a process video. One that I found when I was doing my mega album flip through that I really loved and wanted to kind of revisit. So you saw that layout in the beginning. It was one of those layouts where there was one color and everything else was neutral. So on that page, it was a green background and everything else was neutral, and it did have some pops of gold, but I just thought it was so cute. I liked the design of it. I liked the whole monochromatic plus a neutral design. So I'm kind of trying to revisit that here. That original, I had a 4x4 photo. Here I had two 4x6s, but I tried to trim them down and mat them together so it just looked like a 6x6. Which is fun. That's not a proportion of a photo I've really used before, but I wanted to keep that kind of square design so I could try and mimic what I did on that old page, but kind of with a fun twist and with some fun products. So I pulled in this beautiful constellation from One Canoe 2. I love this paper. I could use this paper forever and never get tired of it. And then you see to the left there, I just went through my stash and I pulled out anything that was brown. Anything that kind of had a fun texture to use, some scraps from my scrap box that I haven't used in years. I have an old brown paper bag. I have some frames, some chipboard, some twine, some cork, some wood veneer, just anything that's kind of brown and a fun texture. And I figured it'd be really cool to try and mix and match on this page, but have the overall look be this more neutral design that went over this really pretty blue. And because it's a camping layout, I figured, that's perfect. It went with the theme. But I just matted my two photos together as a square. I matted them on some white, and then now I'm matting them on a scrap of some chocolate brown cardstock, which I thought was really pretty. I want to make sure to use this brown paper bag. When I saw it, I was like, that would be so cool as a mat. And I love that it was kind of distressed and beat up. It just added to the texture and to the design. So I'm just trying to trim it up. I want this to be one of my mats around my photo, and I thought that was so much fun. So I'm just trying to figure out how much of it I want to show. It's a little wider than I need it to be, so I'll end up folding over one of the corners to get it to be kind of symmetrical. But I love the torn detail on the top. I love the texture that it adds. I hoard brown paper bags for the chance to do this on a layout. I just think that's so fun. But to the side, I have my layout. It's off screen, you can't see it, but I'm just looking back at it and trying to see what I did design-wise. I had a couple layers, square layers around my photo, and then I branched out horizontally. I had a big vellum banner across the bottom. I used a strip of washi across the bottom just to give me a good horizontal anchor point. So I definitely want to revisit that on this layout. And then I had a larger layout or a larger paper be a larger horizontal piece. And I've had this in my stash forever as well. I forgot where I got this. It was probably Michael's, but it's burlap. It's text print burlap or canvas. Is it canvas or burlap? I think it's more of a canvas maybe. I don't know. But either way, I was like, this has been in my stash for probably 4 years at least, and I really wanted to try and use it on here because it was in that neutral kind of theme. It was a fun textile and it had a whole bunch of love, laugh, cherish, a lot of words. That was something I want to incorporate on a page with Marcus, and this trip was our celebratory engagement trip, so I thought all of that kind of went with the theme as well. But you can see I'm just trying to cut it into that horizontal layer from my original. So I really like how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, but I think that's so fun. I just love the mix of the textiles on this one. So I love that. That's going to be the large horizontal layout. And then, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and mimic the vellum and the washi detail from my original too, once I get this kind of glued down. Another thing I loved from my original that I don't hardly do anymore, but it was something I really used to love to do, was to use frames as layering an embellishment. So I'm going to do that as well. I had that really fun glittery gold frame in the one I'm scrap lifting, but I just have a white one to use for this. So you'll see that in a minute. Wasn't quite sure what washi to use, but I found this black and white butterfly washi, so I thought that'd be really nice and neutral, and we're outdoors, so butterflies. I found a scrap of vellum. It wasn't long enough, so you'll just kind of see me try to patch it together, but I know that this frame is going to dip down underneath these layers, so I'm just going to make sure wherever the split is in this vellum, when I piece it together, the frame's going to go over that to hide that, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm just trying to recreate the same kind of design as the original, even though the proportions are different, because that was a 4x4 photo and this is a 6x6 photo collage. But I think that kind of makes it a fun twist, so it's not the exact same. Another thing I kind of twist is because these layers end up a lot bigger, there's not a whole bunch of empty space as there was in the original. The original, I had a fun little cluster in the opposite upper corner to kind of balance the empty space, but I didn't really feel like I needed that on this page because these layers are so much bigger. It takes up more room. I didn't really feel like I needed to add something in the opposite corner, so you'll kind of see that too as we get going. But I have this vellum banner down. I added my washi. I have all my layers where I think they're going to go, and then I decide to look at this frame. This frame's kind of chunkier on the bottom, and I realized that I needed to lift up all of these layers in order to have this frame hanging down how I wanted it. So I'm just going to scooch all of this up a little bit so I have room to do that. That's another reason why I really didn't think I needed that layer or that little cluster at the top, because I kind of scooched all this up a little bit. But I think that's so much fun using frames like this. I need to do that more. But you can see I'm going to cut the frame. I'm going to have this bottom piece hanging out from the bottom, and then I'll have the top piece be the background of an embellishment cluster towards the top. So I'm going to get this stuck down, and again, I'm just making sure the edge of the frame covers up that crease in the vellum, or the split where I had to piece it together. And then there's the top part of the frame. I think that looks super cute. I'm going to use a lot of glue on this one because that burlap is kind of heavier, and I don't want the stuff to fall down in my album. So I'm going to get all of these things glued down, and then I will need to go through these scraps to the left here and kind of figure out what I'm doing from there. I definitely want more layers. I incorporated a lot on that original. I had paper clips and twine and brads and wood veneer, lots of stuff. And I don't know if it's because these layers are more, but I didn't want to overwhelm it with things. It went really well with the original layout I did, but for this one, for some reason, I kind of wanted to pull back a little bit on the embellishment and not do so much. So I'm just trying to pick some of my favorite things to incorporate on here. I had a scrap of this deer fawn pattern paper, and I thought that would be really fun to incorporate since we're camping. So I'm just making that into a little tag, and that's going to be up there by the frame. And then I have a little scrap of that as well. I'm going to pull in the bottom right part of the page just so that pattern is balanced. But I think that's a really fun, sweet pattern to incorporate. So I got that down there, and again, I just threaded that with some twine. I wanted twine on this page for sure. So there's that. I think that little cluster up there is starting to look really cute. And I know you see the cork hearts. I know I want to use those. I have some wood veneer hearts as well, but I don't think I end up using them because I went with the cork hearts. So you'll kind of see what I end up doing instead. I don't know where I went right now. I'm probably going through my stash trying to find more stuff. Oh, here I am back with the scrap of the fawn paper. So I'm just taking a chunk of it that I had left. I'm trimming it into a banner. And you'll see I'm going to have that coming out of the other layers just so that pattern is balanced across the page. And I think that looks really cute. I want to have a whole little cluster down here by that. So I'm trying to pull some other things in. I have this craft little ticket. So I think it might be fun to incorporate that. What I end up doing is, there's some more twine. I figured if I have twine up in the upper tag, I want some twine down here. So I make a little twine bundle and staple it to this little craft tag. And I think that might be cute coming out from behind this fawn banner. but it just keeps looking awkward to me. I don't really know why. I fight with it for a minute. But I think maybe if I add some more layers, then it'll make more sense when I add that. So I fight around a little bit with it and then decide, you know what? I want to incorporate a larger tag to kind of fill in more of this space here before I start layering some of the smaller stuff. So I go back to this chocolate brown cardstock I matted the photo in, and I'll trim that into a tag to kind of be the base for this cluster so it seems more substantial. I feel like it'll look more natural if I layer a bunch of smaller stuff on something larger like a tag. So I'm just using a tag from my stash as my little stencil to kind of get this other one created. I'm going to glue another white hole reinforcer onto this one. Again, thread it with some more twine, and then that will go down next to the photo, and then I'll start kind of layering off of there, and I think that looks a lot better. So getting the twine threaded. Oh, it's so cute. I love these more neutral boy layouts. I have so much fun with them. It's very reminiscent of Wolfpack to me. I feel like I missed an opportunity to pull in some Wolfpack on this page. I'm very surprised I didn't. But I think I was so into using some of this older stash and these different textiles that completely slipped my mind. But I'm getting some Wolfpack vibes, and I love it. But now it looks better having that little fawn banner sticking out from behind the tag. It looks a little bit more substantial. I went to stick down this ticket with the twine, but honestly I didn't really think I needed it after I added the tag because that pulled in that twine. And I think the craft next to the brown paper bag were too similar yet too different to be right next to each other. It just kind of looked weird. I don't know. I decided not to use it though, long story short. And now that I kind of have my layer bases, I can go in with some fun embellishment. I had to use these cork hearts. I got these hearts from Redefine Creative. That's creative with a K.com, and I love them. They're already adhesive backed, so you just have to pull off the backing and they're already sticky. And they're so cute. So I just layered up a couple of them next to each tag. I went through my stash. I found this really cute little gray rubber arrow. I thought that might be fun to incorporate. I also found this vellum white star. I was trying to pull in the star I couldn't make work, but I thought this little gray arrow looked really cool. Although I have all of these browns, I also have some whites on this page, and I thought it might be fun to go down the gray neutral path as well. So I'm going to try and sneak in some gray things. I think because the vellum kind of reads gray and my washi is white and black, I wanted to pull in some gray as well so that it didn't look kind of awkward, because with all these brown, the vellum and the black and white washi was kind of looking weird at the bottom. So I'm just going to pull in a couple gray things and see how it looks, and I end up actually really liking it. Mixing brown and gray is not something I would normally do, but I think because this is an outdoorsy kind of layout, there's gravel in the photos, which is gray. I think it kind of works. So I'm going to stick down these cork hearts. They're definitely staying. I love them. But then you'll kind of see what I end up doing. I pulled out a whole bunch of gray enamel shapes, and I'm thinking I can pull those in and have a gray title, and it'll all kind of go together. I love this little rubber arrow, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down too. I think that's a fun embellishment. And then you'll see me go in with these epoxy stickers. I really don't ever have an excuse to use these like big deer enamel shapes, but this is an outdoor layout. I already have the fawn paper, which is deer themed, so I thought it would be a good chance to get that gray one used up. And then I'm just using a couple different shades of gray from separate enamel dot sheets to create my little embellishment cluster with enamel dots, just to kind of round out the gray embellishment. I think that looks so cute. I love the juxtaposition of having the cork with these shiny enamel dots with the, texture of the rubber. I love all the different textures in this page, so the enamel dots really help emphasize that, because a lot of the textures are really rough, and having the enamel really shiny and glossy, it kind of helps break that up, and I think it's a lot of fun. So here I am just adding another cluster. I fight with this cluster at the top for a minute because it just looks awkward to me, the placement. I think naturally the placement of the enamel dots would have looked better on the blue constellation, but because it's gray, it kind of got lost. So I really wanted to have this cluster on the brown paper bag so you could see it. So that cluster kind of looks awkward there for right now, but then I decided to do my title somewhere in that area, and it kind of all flows together better once I get that down. But I love having this enamel or epoxy stuff on here. Here is my title. I decided just to call it Fire. I'm going to explain in my journaling, but it rained on us a lot during this camping trip, and I just want to note how impressed I was, because you can see our campsite is very wet, that Marcus got a fire going every time. He's got some skills when it comes to making a fire, which came in handy this visit because everything was wet, and I don't even know how he did that, but I'm just going to call it Fire just to get some more gray up there. I love those thickers. And then the bottom right hand corner, there's kind of an empty gap of this constellation paper, so I'm going to do my journaling down there in white. And all I'm saying is I'm glad Marcus is skilled at making fires since the campsite was so wet. And that's pretty much it. This one was a lot of fun. Make sure you check the description. We're going to have a link of everyone playing along with this hop. I think it's so fun. I cannot wait to watch everyone's videos. I think this is so much fun that you can see my original. But here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you every single one of you who are subscribed to me. I love you all so much, and it means the world that you like my stuff enough to follow and subscribe. So yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.